tonight, and then everyone else can just drop in as they come. Okay, so tonight we are talking about who the fuck am I? Right? We're at a time in our lives, things are changing. We're like, what the hell is happening? Sometimes we just can feel like we're not quite ourselves anymore. And what I'm on a mission to tonight is to have a conversation that is going to lead you to a path that helps you find yourself again. So that is my mission. We've also got a Denmark, yay, Kim. Denmark represent best part of the world. Not biased at all. Okay. So, how we are going to get the most from our time together tonight is we're recording. Great. We are going to lock in. So, we're going to shut the rest of the world out for the next 90 minutes. And so, what I just encourage you to do is just take this time for yourself. Really kind of, just tap in with your energy, ground, be present, be in the moment, and that's how we're going to get the most out of this next 90 minutes. Engaging. I want engagement. Hello, Nicole. We want to put yourself in the arena, put yourself in this space, video on, showing up. Hello, Alma. We're also going to get the most out of this when we participate. So I love a chat box that like lights up, right? The more you give me feedback, the more you participate in this conversation, the more you're going to walk away with, and the more I'm going to also have an idea of what you need. Hello, Heidi. Amazing. We've got everyone coming in. I also need you to get real, right? Like tonight is where we need to start getting really honest with ourselves. And sometimes it's the kind of honesty that's going to want to make you vomit and be like, oh, this feels really hard to admit or really hard to be in this space. And I encourage you to lean into that realness, lean into that honesty. And it's where we get vulnerable that we're going to really see change. I also invite you to demand better, right? Start actively making shit happen for yourself. No one else is going to save you. I've got tools and wisdom and knowledge, but ultimately it comes down to you. So if you're ready for real change, that's what we're here for. So I want you to get ready for tonight. What we're going to cover, we're going to go into how your body changes. So the information I believe every woman deserves and that so little receive. The insights that will change how you understand yourself and this time of your life. We're also going to tap into the lies you've been told and the mistakes you're making that are sabotaging your health in this current body that you have. We're then going to go into the playbook that works. So this is the kind of support your mum fucking wished she had, right? And we're having some really beautiful conversations in our generation around perimenopause and menopause. But what I'm really, really worried about is some of those conversations are quite fear-based and quite overwhelming and leave us with more confusion than actual help. So I want you to have a playbook and a clear understanding of what your body needs. Then we are going to go into what shifts you can expect. So I want you to leave today knowing what is possible and how women just like you are feeling the best they ever have. So that's what we're doing tonight. Now, when you stay till the end, and if you actively participate in this masterclass and we make it epic, you will actually get immediate access to a really juicy offer that has the potential to change your life. And that's not me being dramatic. I can be a little bit of a drama queen, but it's definitely not me being dramatic. I've seen women start from this place that you're starting from now, and literally their life, they never turn back. I also want to give gifts to you guys through tonight. So there'll be some free resources and stuff that you'll be sent after tonight, which is just a free gift from me. So buckle up and let's go for a ride and get ready to type in the chat and give me some feedback as we go on this journey together. I'm sorry, I keep feeling weird that I'm looking this way, but when I look this way, I see all your faces. Okay, so I'm also tonight, so no surprises, I am going to be giving you a sneak peek of one of the programs that I run, which is The Shift, which is a 4-week confidence to thrive in perimenopause. And you'll be getting first access to my next round, which actually kicks off on the 28th of April, so just a couple of weeks away. And because you're here tonight, you'll be getting some epic bonuses if you choose to join me inside The Shift. So you're in the right place tonight if you have felt things change and you just don't feel as good as you used to. If you want to confidently prepare for what is around the corner without the panic. If you catch your reflection in the mirror and think, who the hell is that woman? When does she happen? If you're constantly prioritizing everyone else and losing yourself, if you want to slow down the aging process and be that capable, strong, independent elderly woman, if you don't want to suffer, like your mum or maybe your aunties or other people in your life, you've seen them suffer. If you're exhausted and facing each day just feels like an impossible task. And if you want to be that energetic, vibrant, strong, capable older woman who still grabs life by the balls, that's what we're here for. And also, if you refuse to be invisible and just disappear as you age, because I actually believe we are, this is our prime. You know, there's a lot of freedom and a lot of empowerment that comes from this time in our lives when we have the right tools and the right support that helps us make the most of it. So, who am I? I'm a women's wellness naturopath and weight loss coach with over 2 decades of experience. So, I've been doing this for quite a long time and I've evolved a lot over this time. I've actually, Nola, who's here tonight, I don't know even how long ago we last saw each other, but also started working together. But I reckon it'd be close to 20 years. Like, I reckon you were there from one of the starts. And so I've been supporting women above the age of 35 with weight loss resistance, metabolic health, and perimenopause support. And I really started to specialize in this area about 10 to 12 years ago. So I started as a personal trainer in my 20s, and I saw through that industry how messed up it is, how we support women. And I know the industry's changed a lot since I was in my 20s, but it really was quite backwards back then. And there's so many times I wish I could rewind and apologize to my coaching clients back then and be like, I'm sorry, that was so like just punishment at the wrong time of our lives. So I'm on a quest to make a difference and provide women with a safe and knowledgeable place to land. I'm a practitioner who truly cares and is invested in you living the best life possible. So I'm determined to change the narrative that women just need to suck it up, accept it as normal, try harder, and stay silent. So that's who I am. Who I have been is an overachiever, a people pleaser, and an all round good girl, which I know a lot of women that I work with can identify with. So I have a history of negative body image. I hated my strong thighs. I remember the boys at school like punching them and like laughing at me at how muscular they were. And I cursed my athletic build. I dabbled with eating disorders, but I actually felt like a failure because I had an anorexic friend who was hospitalized and I wished I had as much willpower and discipline as she did. I stole laxatives from my grandmother and ate the same vegetable soup for 2 weeks with my mum when she was on a diet. I had periods from hell as a teenager that actually returned in my late 30s, but never remembered even talking to my mum about it because it just wasn't considered normal. I grew up watching my mum and her mum criticize their bodies harshly. I have really strong memories of my mum trying on bathers in change rooms and just hurtling insults at her body. And I grew up thinking that was normal. Women in my life never talked about periods or personal stuff openly. It was all very taboo and it just wasn't something that, yeah, was in my world. This is right. I get emotional. This is my why. It's my girls, right? I want, excuse me, like I can do this. I want my girls to grow up in a home where they see their mum live her best life, be energetic enough to enjoy the adventures, be brave enough to try new things, be confident enough to get amongst it, to love herself enough to look after her body, and value herself and self enough to follow her dreams and passions. I also want them to see me know myself deeply and unapologetically stand up for what I need. And that is my why. My body changed. So, amongst everything that I knew, all the knowledge I had, all the study I'd done, the women I'd supported, my body changed in my late 30s and it definitely caught me off guard. My belly got squishier despite eating the same foods and doing the same exercises. My periods got heavier. Remember I said I had periods from hell in my teenage years and they came back. So it was like flooding and gushing and clotting and heavy. I felt like I was back to my teen years. I was waking up with blood-stained sheets and, having to double up pads and being careful with my clothing choices. I was also getting migraines a lot. My anxiety peaked. My memory and concentration felt like it just checked out. My moods intensified. So loved ones were like bracing themselves and going, fuck, who are we getting today? It didn't help that my oldest daughter was also starting to go through puberty, which I feel like is a really sick joke the universe plays on us. It's like puberty and perimenopause in the same household is lots of fun. My joints started aching. My sleep was terrible. I'd wake in puddles of sweat. 3 a.m. wake ups just became my norm for a while. And I guess what I learned through that is, I had the knowledge, it still bit me in the butt in a lot of ways, but I also was really grateful that I had the tools to sense those things early and be able to then bring in the right support. That's why I'm on a mission to change that for other women. So the truth is, your body does change. It's not in your head. There are physiological changes that are happening. And what it is, it's basically like a second puberty. So it's not just one single event. It's a process that can last anywhere from 8 to 12 years and an average of 7 years. And so if we think that average age of menopause, like the onset of menopause is I guess given to us, like that menopause label is when we haven't had a period for 12 months. And if we go like 8 to 12 years before that is when our body is going through this perimenopausal transition. For a lot of women, that can mean that it actually did happen in their late 30s, early 40s. So I believe we can never be too prepared. And that awareness is the thing that's going to help us navigate this time in the best way. I was putting my makeup on before tonight's call, and my foundation bottle was actually starting to run out. And it it reinforced this analogy that I often use when it comes to perimenopause, right? Like if you imagine those makeup pump bottles and when they're getting to the end and you're like getting nothing out, right? And then all of a sudden you'll pump it one more time and this huge like gulp of makeup ends up on your finger or your brush. It's basically what your ovaries are doing in perimenopause, right? It's like some months they're like, no, no, can't quite get an ovulation, can't quite get the hormones. And all of a sudden it's like the next month you're like, whoa, there's a lot. And that's why it can feel like a roller coaster, right? So we're getting this kind of these fluctuations that are not so predictable and we're not following that same kind of menstrual pattern that we've been used to. It's not a time of chaotic hormonal fluctuations. It's actually quite intricately orchestrated, though. So it's a sequence of events that happen. So, unlike a makeup bottle, it is predictable. We can kind of see patterns and know what to expect. So, there's 3 stages of perimenopause to menopause. First stage is where our progesterone drops. So, progesterone, I think of it as our like yogi, like it's our calming, it's our zen, it makes us feel grounded. And so when progesterone drops off because ovulation is becoming less efficient, so again, that makeup bottle, some months it's happening, some months it's not, but the overall trend is progesterone's dropping. So then what we're left with is a lot of estrogen that doesn't have its wingman. It's not being opposed. And so we become more estrogen dominant. And this is where those symptoms of, I just don't feel like myself, really start to set in. The anxiety, the mood, the sleep, the loss of confidence, and the weight changes. Then stage 2, we've got estrogen wildly fluctuating. So some months it's exited the party, other months it will want the full limelight again. So it's kind of in and out, up and down. And this is when the physical symptoms really amp up. So things like the hot flushes, the night sweats, the body aches, the dry eyes, the heart palpitations. Then this third stage is when estrogen drops off. And this is kind of, when we think about, this is the typical kind of what our mum would have identified as like that real I'm in menopause type space. And this is where ovulation has completely stopped and your period goes MIA, goes missing. And this is where the physical changes dial up. So you get the vaginal dryness, even kind of vaginal atrophy or that I guess withering up of the vagina, memory loss, heart palpitations, hot flushes, and reoccurring urinary tract infections can all be part of that stage 3. So I'd love to hear in the chat box, like, where do you reckon you're at? Can you kind of identify if you're like stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3? Like, do either of these stages feel as like 2? Yeah. Kim's got stage 1. Yeah, and stage one is like, in my opinion, is the like where the gray area really like it's like, is it perimenopause? Is it not? Like, is it just a bunch of other stuff? Heidi, stage one, Nicole, stage three, Julie, stage three, but on HRT. Yep. Okay. Cool. So we're all at kind of different. I think there's another one. NOLA three, but definitely not just the end part from period. Okay. So if we look at a timeline, we've got very early perimenopause, which is where that stage one is. Then we've got the menopause transition, which is, that early and late. And then we've got late perimenopause, which is more your stage three, then going into menopause, which is that final year, like when you've gone, had your final period to then menopause. So we've got final period here. It's 1 year until then we're called that we've reached menopause. And there's multiple ways to get to menopause. We can go through it physiologically, surgically. So if you've had a hysterectomy, especially with your ovaries removed, or medically. So if you are on any have been on chemotherapy, any radiation, or also some of the medications they use post cancer can also induce menopause. So perimenopause itself, and why I think it's so important for us to be proactive through this stage, is because it's a time of recalibration. So it's a critical window for our health. And what we have is reduced thyroid activity. So perimenopause is a really sensitive time for thyroid disease to actually develop due to that original loss of progesterone. So progesterone is very thyroid hormone accelerating and supportive. Then we've got increased inflammation. So with the loss of progesterone in perimenopause, you can start experiencing more aches and pains. Immune function gets altered. So we have like a whole recalibration of our immune system. So autoimmune disease can actually be triggered through perimenopause. It's quite a vulnerable time as the immune system is doing this remodeling. There's also a reduced insulin sensitivity or increased risk of insulin resistance or the development of diabetes. Reduced muscle strength and the desire to move. So this perpetuates this kind of link between like we're losing muscle, but then we're also kind of not doing as much activity. We're getting more sedentary, which can also lead to an impact on our body composition. We lose tissue integrity, so increased risk of injury and musculoskeletal problems. And then neurological changes. So with that reduced calming effect of progesterone, we have less GABA, less oxytocin, and also we tend to be more like in this excitatory nerve signal kind of terrain, which for a lot of women can also be where we experience more of that. So there's a rise of women being diagnosed with ADHD through perimenopause, and it's because we're losing that hormonal buffer of progesterone and the GABA. So that can make us, what we might have been able to mask before, can make things more apparent and more obvious. So now we're going to do some myth busting. I'm going to blow some shit up, right? So the lies you've been told. Number one, your doctor knows best. Reality is most doctors have very little training on women's health. There is additional training they can do. So if you have a women's health trained doctor, fantastic. They have a little bit more knowledge. But majority of doctors, it is like a end of a topic of their training where they might cover it for like 1 day. And I did a science, like a pre-med degree before I did naturopathy. And literally in all the textbooks, all the women's health stuff is like back of the textbook, last little chapter. We generally ran out of time by the end of semester. And it was like, nobody needs to worry about that. Right. So it's not something that a lot of medical professionals are actually trained up on. And so their opinion should not override your own gut instinct that something is off. Hello, Brooke. So what I want to give you an analogy to think about is if you're driving a car, right? And a warning light went on, maybe the engine light, right? And you go to the mechanic who doesn't really understand the light system and they just want to maybe snip that wire and disconnect the engine light and go, well, then I fixed the problem. We wouldn't really be happy with that. And this is what I think a lot of women are accepting in healthcare is you go to the doctor and you go, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling these changes. And the doctor goes, well, we'll put you on some hormones. We'll put you on antidepressants. We put you on diabetes medication, maybe statins because you've got high cholesterol now too. And it's like, where's the looking under the hood? Where's the fixing the mechanical problem? Where's the understanding of what's going on, not just cutting and disconnecting the wire to the light? The other lie you've been told, if it worked for Karen, it must be good, right? We sit around, we have chats with friends, they've tried something, they're feeling better. So you're like, great, let me try that. It must be good as well. So following advice from Karen in the office or using Google or ChatGTP, which is another one I'm seeing a lot of people explore. It's like you can go to ChatGTP and get a whole meal plan written now, right? But what we're missing is a valued source. So these are not valued sources of information or advice. And what it's doing is it's distracting and it's overwhelming because it's like, now I've got a list of all the things I need to do, or this is like confusing to what I've heard in another space. So you're not going to find the solution in the generic places. And just because something worked for one of your friends doesn't mean it is going to work for you. And that's where in this space, that personalization is really important. HRT or MHT, so hormone replacement therapy or menopause hormone therapy, will make it better. So a lot of women just believe, oh, just go on that and everything will be fine. But this is not the case for lots of women, right? And getting an effective hormone prescription can take a lot of trial and error. And I use this analogy of like pouring cranberry juice into a wine glass, right? We can make it look better on the surface, but it still fucking tastes like sour wine. Like it's not wine, right? And you deserve wine. So let's go in and let's figure out how to make the wine first and then pour that into a beautiful wine glass. So what I did is meet Cherie. Cherie was actually taking HRT when she first came to me. She went from eating daily afternoon naps, having stubborn belly fat, and feeling constantly irritable and flat, to, after working with me for a couple months, finding her spark again, reaching her goal weight and finding lightness all over. She actually went on holidays, and I remember her coming back and she was like, it's the first time I've gone on holiday and haven't needed to come back and like start again. Like I feel like I'm still going, like nothing changed and it all feels like everything maintained. She's actually literally the last time we talked a couple weeks ago, she's now thrown out all her old diet books, which was this like ceremonial like cleansing of like, I don't fucking need all that shit anymore, which was such an empowering moment. She reversed her high cholesterol and her pre-diabetes. So she had insulin resistance and that is completely solved and resolved. She also has no more hot flushes. Her little message to me was, Mel, thank you for helping me find my definite answer, which has allowed me to find a healthier me. I can't believe that I have been able to reverse my diabetes and high cholesterol in the process. Being able to maintain my weight through holidays and celebrations feels so good. So these kind of stories are possible. So instead of listening to the lies, what do we need to do? We need to tune into your body. You need to become your own expert in listening to the whispers that your body is giving you. You need to get the right testing done. And you won't get useful insights unless the right testing is ordered. And this is also the other problem I see a lot. You go to the GP, they don't have the training, remember. They just run superficial blood tests and they're going, everything's fine, right? And off you go. Meanwhile, you're sitting there going, but hang on, I don't feel fine. So there's like, what do I do now? So what I've done for you guys, my first offering tonight, so this will be coming out in email after our session, is I've created a list of all the blood tests I believe a woman above the age of 35 should have done at least yearly. And so if some of these haven't been done, this is your call to go get them done. And what I've also realized is we need to be able to have conversations with our doctor about like actually getting these tests done, right? So you can't just go to them with this list and be like, order these for me. They won't like it. So I've also, alongside the list, given you a little like how to talk with your doctor, right? And if the doctor, what I generally when my patients are coached and have the conversation, their doctor is willing to do all the tests. Occasionally, we get a little bit of resistance over a few of them. In those cases, there are options to fill those gaps privately. And so I've also kind of spelled that out there in that resource. And if you do want help with that, just let me know. So that will all be coming to you, ladies. So we're going to get the right testing done. We're also going to shift your nutrition. So you're going to stop fueling your body like you did in your 20s and 30s and expecting things to be okay, because this is not going to fly anymore. Your body, your mature body, needs different things. So be honest. How often do you skip breakfast? Or maybe call this breakfast. Does anybody want to own up in the chat bar? Like, how often are you skipping breakfast? What percentage of the time? Like, is coffee classified as a breakfast in your world? Yeah, good job, Julie. Leaning into that realness, getting honest. Heidi in the past, yes. Just finished a 24-hour fast. Okay, skipping lots of meals. Yeah, fasting is an interesting one. If anybody's got any questions on that at the end, we can definitely have a chat about fasting. Um, so this approach, and a lot of times I find the thought process behind fasting or skipping breakfast is that, well, then I'm not going to eat as much through the day, right? Like if I start the day by having without having a meal, then I'm already going to be like in a calorie deficit. So I'm already winning, right? In the mission to lose weight. Kim's got, I eat brekkie and love my food. Yes, love it. Yay, Kim. Um, so the way that we need to approach our body instead is actually work really heavily with protein. And this is the one, I guess, the first thing that I generally start with women that it so many things fall in place once we nail this. So, if only one thing changed from tonight, if you take one thing away and you start doing better with, this is the thing that's going to move the needle the most, and that is starting with protein, right? So, what we're going to do is a little calculation. We're going to calculate your individual protein number. So, once we do this, it might surprise you, but what I need you to do is take your body weight and times it by 1.5. So, for example, if you're 80 kilos times by 1.5, that's 120. And once you've got your protein number, I just want you to throw that in the chat box too. So I've got an idea of protein numbers that we're dealing with. 127.5. Great. Let's just round up to 130 because remembering this 1.5 that I'm giving you, that is like minimum, right? This is conservative. 119, let's go 120. Tash, 114. Great. 159, nice. 160, just round them on up. Like that's your, whatever you've come to, that's your bare minimum, your lowest number. So then if we start looking at a day, oh, I think I missed someone else's. Julie. Oh, this is very 157.5. Great. Let's just round that on up to 160. Kim, 150. Nice. Okay. So if we look at your day, I guarantee most of you are not eating enough unless you're already working with me. So breakfast might look like an egg on some avocado on toast, or maybe some fruit and yogurt. That has 10 grams of protein. Or lunch, maybe a wrap with some ham in it, or like a chicken salad sandwich. 16 grams of protein, probably if we're lucky. Dinner, maybe we're getting a steak and some veg or salad, or maybe it's a pasta. So anywhere from like 10 to 30 grams, that might fluctuate. So if we look at the upper end, assume we've had the steak for dinner, in a day like that, we're at 56 grams of protein. And what I also probably guess, and there's some incidental snacking happening on that day too. Or you're getting to the end of the day and being like, fuck, now I just really want chocolate and biscuits. Right? So we think we're doing the right thing by having a smaller breakfast, having a healthy lunch, and then it's like it's screwing us over in the evening or maybe even in the afternoon. So an optimal day, note there's small changes here that are going to make a big difference. It might look like a 2-egg omelette with shredded chicken, some feta, mushroom, spinach, capsicum. That can also be prepped in advance. We can do little like frittata cups with that combination in it that you put in the oven, you bake, maybe make 12 at once. Some of them go in the freezer, some of them live in the fridge, and then we pull them out. 40 grams of protein already. Oh, we've like quadrupled, almost at our total daily count from the day before. Then lunch, 2 cans of tuna. Don't go down to one, just 2 cans of tuna with salad and maybe like a pesto dressing. 35 grams of protein. Dinner, steak, 150 grams, probably slightly more than what you might be having, and vegetables, 45 grams of protein. All of a sudden, 130 grams of protein, done. Right? And I guarantee you're not snacking through the day like you used to either. So when we get enough protein in, all of a sudden, changes start happening without a lot of effort. And this is where I'm also a huge advocate for let's not make stuff harder than it needs to be, right? You've already got a lot on your plate. You've got a long to-do list. You don't need to be like calculating or weighing food out. But when you actually get those basics right with the protein, so much will fall in place from there. You'll get more energy. You'll have less cravings. You'll sleep better. You'll have more even moods. Your brain function will improve. You'll eat less over the whole day. You'll be feeling fuller and you'll have weight loss or fat loss, to be more specific. You'll also prevent muscle loss, which is so important for us as well as we age. Does anybody have any questions at this stage about the protein? Can you legit eat steak all day? Look, I do recommend variation, but I am a like meat loving. I actually have a belief that women do better on a meat-based diet. I haven't met many women who thrive without having that real kind of solid protein. So even if they're vegetarian and they're having seafood or fish, or really working hard with like the tofu, and possibly needing like your protein like meal replacements as well to top it up. Yeah, I believe we need meat, but I would recommend variation and having a variety of stuff, not just having steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Although a steak for breakfast would be amazing. Love it. Kangaroo for breakfast. There was research around that. One of the best starts of the day for women. So does fish, salmon have a good load of protein? Yes. So similar to your chicken, your red meat, it's about kind of 27 grams of protein per 100 grams. So we're working with a fairly like decent pack a punch. Protein shakes definitely okay. I love using protein shakes for a what is the word I'm looking for? A booster. Like I don't like having a protein shake as like a meal replacement consistently every day, just for myself. And I think, we need that variation through food as well. But having a protein shake on hand that can fill those gaps, or if you are someone who's like pushed for time, rushing out the door, caught, off guard because you're out at kids stuff and you've got nothing prepared, it's like I would rather you have a protein shake and get that protein in than go without and skip. That's my take on it. And I have a list of my favorite proteins too. So if you ever want to chat more about that, I'm more than happy to share the proteins that I love. Good questions, ladies. Loving this. Okay. The next thing we do is we get the foundation right. So there's a lot of unglamorous stuff that won't make, the creatine buzz or the fads or the trends, but like the right nourishment, one of the things we just talked about with protein, getting sleep, getting rest, like slowing down, stop doing so much, movement, hydration. Like they're not Instagram worthy, but they count for so much. And I think so many women like are reaching for the things that maybe have got the promises that if they do this, it'll be like, the easy option or the holy grail, but they're doing it without the right foundation. So like don't overlook the foundation. Also moving your body with intention. So we actually need to do as we age is we ditch the grueling and punishing 5 a.m. workouts. Like sleep. Fucking sleep. It's important. Don't feel guilty for not getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym. Rest is important. But what we need to do is adjust our exercise and our movement to fit where we're at. So strength training, resistance training, the importance of that. Having cardio where it does kind of push us into a higher heart rate. But then also having those days where like the walks and just that more incidental movement is really important. So movement with intention is the other thing we need to really do. So what you really need is a new playbook, right? You can't keep repeating the things that you've been doing or that, trying to reach for those, things that people are saying and trying to do them and being chaotic and overwhelmed. What we need to do is just get solid with a new playbook, understanding what our body needs at the phase and stage we're at. So what if I don't have enough time, right? Like I get it. You're spending so much time and energy looking after your kids, working, caring for elderly parents, balancing finances, maintaining a home. When do you possibly find more time to fit in meal prep, exercise, self-care? The solution is it doesn't actually require extra time. It just needs a strong, flexible framework that fits into your already busy life. And this starts with that clarity and direction, right? If we keep trying so many different things and not really getting clear on what we need to do, then it does feel like we don't have enough time. What if I wait? Waiting for life to slow down, waiting for the finances, waiting until I can commit so I can give it 100%. It's another one I hear all the time, right? Like, I can't give it 100% right now, so I won't start. If we keep waiting for that time, it's not going to get better on its own. So if it feels like now is not quite the right time and you just want to wait to see if things get worse also before you do anything about it, the solution is waiting to see if things improve on their own. Hold on. Let me just get my wording right. So, solution, waiting to see if things improve on their own or waiting for the right time to look after yourself will only rob you of connection with loved ones and hold you back from a quality of life that you crave. So, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll be taking control of your future. So, get the ball rolling, baby steps, right? Like, do something that moves you in that direction. And then what happens is momentum gathers. It doesn't need to be perfect to start. We don't need to wait for things to be all, ducks in a row for it to feel like it's the right time. I'm just going to have a drink. Excuse me for a sec. But my, but my doctor knows best. So you sought out advice from your doctor and they've told you that everything is fine. So why would you do anything? Right? And letting your GP, who actually, as we've established, has minimal training in women's health, dismiss how you're feeling is, in my mind, medical gaslighting. So the solution, take control of your own health and put yourself in the driver's seat, realizing that you are actually the only person who truly knows your body. Becoming a strong advocate for the kind of healthcare you deserve will result in the best outcome. And I don't know if things can get better, right? I've been living this way for so long. You don't remember the last time you felt any different. You question if this is just going to how you're going to feel for the rest of your life. The solution, it's time to ditch old stories that have kept you stuck. They've limited you. It's possible for you to feel better and you don't have to keep suffering or in silence or pushing through. Your body is not broken. You just need a new approach and to start believing that it is possible. So what can you expect? Meet Lorinda. She went from the scales not budging, relying on coffee for energy, to losing 11 kilos and keeping it off. She reversed her diabetes. She ditched alcohol. She was in such a pattern of coming home from work and just reaching straight for the alcohol to unwind after a hard day, to feeling energized and motivated and coping with the stress of work really, really well. And then there's Jerry. She actually went from feeling in a really dark place. She felt hopeless, depressed. She was very resistant to change. Her body felt stiff and she was really uncomfortable, to feeling alive again. She lost 10 kilos easily. I remember her saying, Mel, it doesn't even feel like I'm trying because it never felt like a real effort. She lowered her blood pressure naturally and she's loving herself more and making herself a priority. Her words to me were, Mel helped me lose 7 kilos in 10 weeks, but more importantly, she helped me reconnect with myself. I feel calmer, clearer, and more in tune with my body. Melissa's gentle guidance and beautiful group space made all this difference. So now just for fun, let's play a game. Let's break this up. So how deep are you into perimenopause and menopause? So what we're going to do is play a little game of bingo. So as I'm calling things out, I want you to just keep like a tally in your head. So you'll end up with like a bingo number, right? So hair thinning, everything's worth 1 point. Poor sleep, vaginal irritation or dryness, or just, feeling like vagina's not happy. Loss of confidence, period changes, irregular cycles, more belly fat, mood changes, reoccurring infections, bloating, restless legs, joint pain, acne or rashes, Hives is the one that I find perimenopausal women can get. So if there's any kind of hives, I put that in as a point. Anxious, headaches, acne, being two for acne and rashes. Whoops. Intolerance to alcohol. You have a glass of red wine and you're like feeling like it flares up, kind of almost like an allergy type symptom. Low libido, itchy skin, fatigue, night sweats. Itchy skin got two as well. Allergies and hot flushes. So maybe ignore the double ups. We'll do a score out of 22 instead of 24. What was your score? Chuck your score in the chat box. 15, 16. Okay. 16, 13. 11, 12. 12, but some of those symptoms are extreme. Okay. Like you'd almost give them double points, bonus points. Tash, 7. Okay. Good job. So now if those symptoms that you're experiencing and how like the trajectory that you feel your health is on, if things didn't change, sorry, I just realized I missed one. I almost got 10. If nothing changed, what would life look like in 5 years? So I just want you to take a moment to close down your eyes, take some deep breaths. Imagine how you're feeling right now in your body, all the symptoms you're experiencing, the trajectory that's developed. Maybe that's developed over the last few years or even decades. And now project that forward another 5 years, another 10 years, maybe 20 years. How do things feel if you did nothing, if things didn't change? What kind of life would you be missing out on? What kind of mother would you be? What kind of wife? What kind of partner? What kind of daughter? What kind of friend? Nursing home. Julie, oh my God, this scares me. My mum is 80 and I feel like I have similar symptoms to her and I'm only 50. Yeah. Yeah. And this is why if we keep waiting for the right time, or if we keep not getting the right support, like what are we missing out on? All these years where life could be richer, we could be feeling more alive, having the adventures. So now it's magic wand time. If I could wave it and transform your health instantly, what would you actually want to change? What are the things that you would wish to be different with your health? How would you want to feel? What kind of life would you be living with your new level of health? What would you be doing? What doors would it open up? What would you be doing that you can't do now? I want you to dream big. Take that magic wand and wish. And now see how it feels. Does it feel hopeful? Does it feel good? I want you to know it's possible. I've seen it happen. And you have two choices. You continue waiting, pushing through, ignoring the signs, trying to fix it yourself, or you get a new roadmap that gives you clarity and the confidence to thrive. Which one feels like the better one? The one you want? Let me know in the chat box. Do we want to keep feeling like we're trudging through the forest, making the path, trying to find our way through? Or do you want that clear roadmap? So if you had a fail-safe step-by-step playbook that showed you the nutritional movement and lifestyle shifts that would get you feeling that great, that magic wand power, would you want it? Clear road, please. Yes, Nicole, we're here for the clear road. So if you're ready to feel supported in perimenopause by a health practitioner who gets it and has the tools, confidently prepare for what is around the corner without the panic and overwhelm, look in the mirror and feel good about yourself. Stop prioritizing everyone else and find yourself again. Slow down the aging process. Be a role model for the children, for your children, all the children, and be informed more than what your mum ever was. Face each day with energy and vibrancy. Be that strong, capable old woman who still grabs life by the balls and claim the life you deserve. If you're ready for all of that, then that's where the shift comes in. So, like I mentioned, we start on Tuesday, the 28th of April. This is a 4-week get the playbook. We go through it. So, what we do in the first week is we lock in. The second week, we get clear. Then we tidy and tweak, and then we align your living. So, we go from surviving, feeling like we're in control. We take control of our health. This is, where we get the changes in the weight gain, the discomfort, the moodiness. And then we optimize. We remove the confusion. We get really, really clear. And this supercharges our body. We then start to understand what we need to be doing to give us the best possible supercharged body at this stage of our life. Then we integrate everything into our life in easy, realistic, actionable steps. And this takes us towards that thriving. So what is covered in the shift? Week 1, we go into your shifting hormones. So we learn how your hormones are impacting your weight gain, moods, energy, libido, and brain function, and take control back and play to your strengths. Week 2, we shift the road bumps. We uncover the main factors that derail your efforts and hold you back. I realize I've got so many spelling mistakes and hold you back from seeing results. I was actually typing this slide while I was listening to grunge music today, and it was like there was a band playing, and I was like, this is probably not going to be the best. This is where spelling mistakes come from. Learn how to successfully remove the blocks so your path to success is smooth. Week 3, toxic shifts. So this is where we supercharge your health by understanding how toxicity actually pulls the brake on fat loss after 40 and get support to implement the changes that matter most without getting obsessed. And then week 4, we have the lifestyle shifts. So these help us discover how to integrate the helpful lifestyle shifts into your life. Like we sit there and we workshop. How is this going to work for you? Right? And I make it easy, realistic, and actionable. So the shifts you can expect, going from skipping meals, unsure of what to eat, no appetite in the morning, fueled by coffee and sugar, to enjoying real satisfying meals that actually fuel your body without obsessing over it. Being good all day and then smashing chocolate at night, feeling in control around food with no urge to binge. We can go from hating what you see in the mirror, clothes not fitting comfortably, but you refuse to go up a size, to loving the way your reflection radiates health, strength, and confidence, slipping into your clothes with ease. We can go from feeling constantly bloated to and forced to plan your wardrobe around forgiving waistbands to a calm, comfortable belly that you never have to suck in because your digestive system is at peace. We go from random 3 a.m. wake-ups to waking up feeling refreshed and energized. We go from snapping at loved ones, feeling disconnected and overwhelmed, to feeling emotionally balanced. We go from struggling to focus to feeling absolutely locked in, from withdrawing in social settings and anxiety running the show to feeling calm and centered. And then your skin changes, making you look older and haggard, to glowing skin that reflects how vibrant you feel on the inside. So meet Danny. She went from feeling anxious, exhausted, looking after everyone else, and her life lacking joy, to anxiety-free, losing 5 kilos without missing out or restricting herself, having energy and rediscovering her love of exercise, being emotionally stable, no more PMS that turned her into a raging, irritable mum, having more fun and laughing more, creating happy memories with her family. And in Danny's words, she joined the shift with the intention of focusing some attention on herself. The help lifted myself out of the daily trench we trudged through as women and mothers. So much of my energy had been focused on my young family, and I was finally at a point where I could bring some of myself back into play. Dana's message to me was just keep being so amazing. I have had more results working with you in the last 6 months than other people for years. Doing the shift has been a marked milestone in my journey with Mel, with distinct and noticeable changes that continue to support me after the program itself finishes. So what Danny took away from the shift was the information. They were like little gold nuggets. She said Mel meets you where you're at with a loving and lovingly guides you to where you want to go. And it's literally about taking as much or as little as you can or want to. So even the smaller shifts end up having the biggest impact. Also have lifetime access to all the resources that she felt was really, really beneficial too. Now, the shift does have a group component to it, which I know for a lot of women can be like, this feels uncomfortable. But what I want to reassure you, if like in my belief, we don't gather as women enough. And there's power in this collective support we get from other women. And Danny's take on it was the group gatherings felt safe and open. They allowed for such a good melting pot of experiences. Hearing others' stories helps to see how the program can work in so many different ways. And there is a huge amount of safety that is in these groups. And I've found it truly transformational component of the work that I've started to do and integrate it into the one-on-one space as well, is just, it exceeds anything I could do on my own. So if you're hesitant of the group stuff, this is where leaning into that discomfort can actually bring a lot of benefit. So the shift includes 6 interactive and motivating group workshops. So these are held weekly on a Tuesday at 12 o'clock Perth time. They are all recorded, and they're available to rewatch at any point. You get unlimited lifetime access. You get downloadable frameworks and recipes. You also get motivational resources and videos that just keep you inspired. You know, we go through cooking demonstrations, meal planning, snack options, exercise and movement motivation, and lifestyle tips. So cost-wise, total valued over $2,000, but it's, as a package, as the shift, we're at 447 or 4 weekly payments of 112, which basically you save a shitload. Then we've also got a VIP shift option. So this is now where we go into more of the testing. So if you feel like you want more investigations done straight up, then what we have is this option, good spelling as well, Dutch testing, which is the most amazing hormone testing you will ever have access to. It's done through private labs. A GP will never offer you this type of testing. They don't generally, they're not aware of it. Medicare doesn't cover it. So it is valued over $500. But with a Dutch report, we are getting the deep insights. We're seeing the full hormonal pathways, the adrenal function. We're also getting what we call organic acids, which gives us these markers that give us ideas around dopamine and your GABA and all. Like, it's just the most in-depth testing you'll ever see. So the VIP option includes that testing, as well as 2 private 30-minute sessions with me. So this is where we dive deep. You have the one-on-one support as well as the group. And this is where we get to personalize. So that value comes in at over $3,000, but for this program, it's $1,197 or 4 weekly payments of $299. So we're looking at the 2 different options. Your standard shift option basically just doesn't include the Dutch hormone testing and the private consultations, versus the VIP option has the Dutch hormone testing and the 2 private consultations. So again, just revisiting the framework. But for you ladies, because you're here, you're staying to the end, what you're going to get is early bird pricing. So up until the 17th of April, there is $100 off both packages, the VIP or the standard. And then bonus 2 option for you is for the first 5 women, for being here tonight, the first 5 women who sign up, I will also include an extra one-on-one consultation. So that'll just automatically be added on. So even if you're just doing the normal standard shift, you'll still be getting a one-on-one consultation with me. So with the early bird discount, that's $347 and $1,097 for the VIP option. Plus, don't forget the additional private consultation. So that now there's 1 private consultation in the normal one, and then 3 private consultations for the VIP. So what other women have said about the shift? I'll be forever grateful for your advice, support, and supplements that got me out of my black hole that I was diving down mentally with perimenopause. Just wanted to message you and let you know that it's so lovely to be part of the shift. I really appreciate your and everyone's openness. It feels safe, comfortable, supportive, and inspiring. Couldn't ask for anything more. Thank you for putting so much heart, effort, and soul into everything you do. It's so worth it. Melissa was fantastic. Whenever I had a question, she would always answer it promptly. And the same if I had any requests, would provide me with everything I needed. I always felt fully supported on the program. It was an amazing program. I got so much information out of it. Wish it could go longer. And Melissa always made me feel at ease in the group sessions. It was great to feel part of a women's group. We all shared similar experiences in our lives, so you didn't feel like you were doing it alone. So that's so I've given you some things to go away. We've got a blood test list. We've got a clear understanding that protein is where we need to start. We've busted some myths. We know that we can expect more because there's like real life situations where women have been achieving more. And now I can answer any questions. What I'm going to do is also just drop in the chat box if anyone is keen to sign up tonight. I'm just going to drop the links for the different options. So they're all the early bird pricing. I've just noticed Nola's little message. Mel got me on track 10 years ago, but I lost touch when she moved from Perth. I know, I was so excited to see your face tonight. When I saw your registration come through, I was like, I think that's Nola. So I'm so glad you're back in my world. And look, and I've changed the last 10 years of practice. There's so much that I've learned as a practitioner and that I've, morphed the way that I support. So, even if you have worked with me before, it's a different experience now. Nola, what size are the groups? The groups, like, so for the shift, the last time around the shift, there was 12 women. I don't cap that group. It kind of doesn't impact the service I can provide the number of ladies that join. I wouldn't expect there'd be any more than 20, but 12 was a really lovely number. But yeah, is it like, did you want to have a chat about that further? Or is that kind of yeah? If you do, you can feel free to take yourself off mute. Does anybody have any other questions, even specifically around symptoms, or if they want any like information from me tonight, like pick my brains. This is your opportunity. If you do have any questions, maybe just write me in the chat box and take yourself off mute and just start talking. You've got to. Do we have to take before? Hell no. Hell no. Look, for some women, that can feel motivating. Normally, what I talk about, and the women in this group here tonight that have worked with me for a while will know I do believe in capturing something, interesting enough. I've had a woman in a recent program, another one that I run called Lighten Up, who had the goal of fitting into enclosed shoes. Again, she had a pair of shoes she hadn't been able to wear. So we use that, right? It's just like a goalpost. It's something that we then get to celebrate, because this is the other thing that I think often as a woman, we don't sit and like revel in the achievements, right? So if we don't have something to compare to or go back to, we kind of gloss over what we've achieved. So I do think there is an important component of capturing something that's going to motivate you, but also before after photos, like if they fuck with your head, like they would fuck with my head. No, don't do it. Yeah, no, definitely not that kind of space. And I'm really, even though a lot of what I do is weight loss focused, it comes from a place of it's more than the weight, right? It's not the numbers on the scales that are governing whether we're succeeding or failing. It's how you're showing up in your life, how you're feeling, the type of person you're able to be, the adventures you're able to have, the confidence that you gain. Like it's those that is driving the motivation for the weight loss. But I still think there's a place to celebrate the weight loss too. Like it's a part of the success story, but it's not just about that. Otherwise, you'd be doing like a 4 week, just drink juices for 4 weeks. And yeah, you'd lose like 5 kilos, but then what after 4 weeks? Uh, did that does that answer your question, Julie? Yeah, cool. Tash, hair is falling out. Oh, is hair falling out a sign of perimenopause or a myth? So what tends to happen with that. So it can be a part of the perimenopause picture. And this is again going back to that kind of in the stage one, right, where it's a little bit gray area. The hair falling out can be made worse or made more obvious because of the hormonal, that progesterone loss, which does have an influence on skin and hair quality. But there's also other, I generally think of things like your iron levels and also thyroid function when I see that type of sign, which if we go into perimenopause with low iron, and then, we're having that fluctuating estrogen, which is maybe driving heavier periods, that can get worse. And then the hair falling out can definitely be a side effect that flows in from that. Or also, if we're having that recalibration and thyroid is being affected because of that loss of progesterone, then hair falling out can be a side effect of that thyroid involvement in the perimenopause picture. So it's definitely is a sign of perimenopause, but on its own, there's also other things that can be at play. Does that answer your question, Tash? I can't see your face. So I'm hoping it answered your question. If you've got any other following questions, we can also chat off mute if you want. Anybody got any other questions? Feel free to just chat at me. This is our chance. Grab a tea. Let's have a what kind of chat would you want to have with your knowledgeable best friend? No? I'm curious what got you guys here tonight? Like what was the motivating factor there? Yeah, I need to go listen to what this lady has to say. Does it suit menopause? Yes. And you said, Nola, that you haven't had a period for over, like you've hit that menopause, like no period for 12 months. Feel free to come off mute if you want, if it's easier. Years, but still got other hormone issues. Yeah. So even though we hit menopause and we've had 12 months period free, there can still be flow on effect and still like hormonal issues post-menopausally. Um, and yes, the shift still is designed to support you through that as well. So I love that, it's hard in the messaging and like the marketing aspect of these types of things because I feel like I've got to hit a certain target audience, but I love that you've picked it up because there is still a very very, very solid place for this to work, even postmenopausally, because the reality is the playbook is actually quite similar. And what we get to do inside the shift is just make some subtle adjustments to really meet you with where you're at anyway. So definitely is still very valid and very necessary. Julie, I think for me, it was that I resonated with so many statements and questions in your promotion. It was real. My mind aligns with your marketing. Yay. I'm glad. Look, and I think this is where I don't know about you, Julie, but there's so many women feeling that way. But also, what I've learned through this marketing process, not a lot of women are really ready to do anything about it. Right. So there's this kind of like, oh, yeah, I resonate, but actually, putting my name down, securing my seat, rocking up for the masterclass, there's still this kind of hesitation. So I really value that all of you are here tonight and have taken this time for yourself. And I guess stepped into that space of I deserve better and I deserve to know this stuff and I deserve to be equipped and informed and empowered. So I'm really proud of all of you for being here. Nola, my nan was still on HRT at 99 and a half and mum at 83. Look, this is another thing, right? Like HRT, it's like, when do we stop? Like once we started it, like it's a natural process for us to go and be at a lower hormonal terrain, right? Like we're not meant to have the hormones of a 30-year-old for the rest of our life. And so it's kind of like, what point do we realize we don't need them anymore? And this is where I believe when we're using HRT as a band-aid and a cover over. It's like I'll put the smoke and, the smoke and mirrors, and we're not resolving what's underneath, then yes, we're never going to be able to take it away and feel good, because there's always this kind of like top up that's happening that's keeping us like holding shit together. But if we go in and we, and I've got patients who use HRT and get really effective HRT dosing. And sorry, sideline with the Dutch testing. Dutch testing is gold standard for hormone testing for HRT prescription over in America. So with a Dutch test, you get to really see those physiological active hormone levels and know then what type of HRT script is going to top you up appropriately, as opposed to just throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping it's the right one. So, when we're then supporting not only what's underneath, but then maybe using HRT in an appropriate way, we get to a point where we should be able to wean off the HRT and take ourselves into like a natural, like just let's actually progress to the older lady who isn't supposed to have high estrogen and progesterone levels for the rest of her life. And, not just be on it until we're 99 and a half. Like that just feels like a very long time to be using hormones for, when your body was never meant to have those kind of hormones for that long. I actually see it quite a blessing when we look at the animal species. I think there's elephants, whales. There's one other one. There's like four, like including us, species on the earth that actually go through menopause, right? Like in all other animals, they can procreate and they're fertile right up until the day they die. And so it's like, to me, for some reason, we've been chosen, our value as an older woman without being able to have babies is still a value to our species. And I think there's this beautiful, energetic, just like harnessing that and going, fuck yeah, I've still got power, even though I can have babies. Like, how cool does that feel? And yeah, and not seeing it as like a withering away, like I'm no longer useful. Like there's this really, I don't know, I think it's quite cool. Uh, Nola. So yeah, my mum was stopped earlier, but she could not move. As soon as she started again, her aches went. I could not climb a ladder when Mel first took me on. Took you on. I didn't take you on, you chose me. Um, but could after she helped me. Great. Kiana, thanks, Mel. I'm interested in working with you to find some improvements for energy, hormones, nutrition for the everyday. Yeah, love that. I'd be honored to help you do that, Kiana. Do you have any questions? I know I got to see your face for a little second, which was lovely. But yeah, if you wanted to ask any questions or come off mute and have a chat. There you are again. Okay, well, if anybody doesn't have any other questions, feel free to email me as well if something pops into your head after today. I will be sending out the recording to everyone that registered, so all you ladies will get this recording. And obviously, just a reminder for being here tonight, you've got your early bird pricing. You guys are the first people to hear about this, so I haven't even started advertising the shift yet, but it will be going public as of maybe the next couple of days, depending on how school holidays go and how I navigate children's needs amongst work. That early bird pricing will end on Sunday, the 17th of April. And then you've got literally an hour after the masterclass finishes to take me up on my offer of the bonus one-on-one consultations with the securing your spot in either the standard shift or the VIP shift. You get that bonus consultation. So even just for being here tonight, you've got the potential to save $250 on this shift journey. So I want to thank you guys so much, and go forth and thrive. Go get some protein in. Don't go and skip breakfast and have coffee, and make those tweaks that are going to give you a bit more protein through the day. And then go get some blood tests done and get some proper investigations, and reach out if you need any other support. But I really value all your time. And yeah, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks,
Amazing
Mel.
lady. See you guys.